YouTube vinyl community, Shangri-Las fans, random people on the internet, my name is Giggens. We're here today to talk about the Shangri-Las, the best of the Redbird and Mercury recordings released in 2021 through Real Gone Music and Mercury and Redbird. It was a record store day release in 2021, and one of my favorite albums. I mean, this thing is fantastic from start to finish. I'm a big Shangri-Las fan anyway, but having all their singles, well, most of their singles in one album on a double record set is fantastic. The packaging is so cool, so well done. And let me show you the inside, which is really nice. Good shot of the girls there, and a lot of paraphernalia, different records, different sleeves, sheet music. Really, really well packaged set. And the sound on this thing is fantastic. It does sound like it got remastered or remixed. It sounds unbelievably clear and punchy and tight. And I've wanted to make a video about this thing for a long time, but wasn't sure how to do it. I was like, do I talk about every single song on this album? Because there's a lot of songs on here. And I was kind of like, yes, I will. Because I feel like the Shangri-Las were a band that are obviously known for like 2 or 3 songs. Leader of the Pack, Remember Walking in the Sand, and maybe Give 'Em a Great Big Kiss. Maybe. But beyond that, I feel like a lot of their songs, well, I Can Never Go Home Anymore, that was also a top 10 hit. But as far as like what they remember for these days, 2 of them are like massive hits for them. But they had a lot of great songs. Their story is so fascinating, and just the way they came together, their recording history with Greg Shadow Morton, the company mergings. This is a band that could have been bigger than it was, and it could have lasted longer than they lasted. It's one of those classic 60s groups thing where it's just like it lasted a few years, they burned super bright, and then record companies sort of gave up. And it's just like, it would have been so cool to see where they would have gone in 1967 and beyond. But anyways, let's crack into this because it starts off with Remember Walking in the Sand, their first single. And this version is very cool. It's got a longer intro with more words. It's really, really cool to hear that before it cracks into the rest of the song. It's fantastic. Also, the outro is longer too. But, I mean, the remastering on this thing is super clean, super clear. You hear every little note. You hear them enunciate and breathe when they sing. It sounds fantastic, but this song in particular is jarring because of its use of empty space. You know, it's such a minimalist type of song in terms of instrumentation, but the drama is heartbreaking, and you really feel this, an outpouring of like, you know, teenage emotionalism, which was kind of their thing for most of their songs. But like, this is one of those songs you hear, you never forget how this song goes. And fun fact, Billy Joel actually played on the demo version of this song when he was a studio musician. There you go. But man, hell of a song. And then Leader of the Pack, I mean, this song's been talked about a million times, but the more I've been listening to it lately, I'm almost wondering if this song is a fantasy. I'm almost wondering if the song is like a what if, you know? Especially with the line, by the way, where'd you meet him? I met him at the candy store. Like, you're going to meet a motorcycle guy at the candy store? Okay. But like, you know, I almost wonder if you turned around and saw this like tough looking guy who was like maybe a couple years older, but not yet like driving. Or maybe he was like a 16-year-old with a motorcycle and he did want to get candy. Who knows? But either way, the drama on this thing is insane. You know, that loneliness, that rebellion, that heartache, the storytelling. I mean, someone died, the leader of the pack dies in the song, spoiler alert, but you know, it's a song that the record company wasn't super sure about at first because they were like, someone dies in this song, and it became a #1 hit. It was their biggest hit. Unbelievable track. You know, the sound effects of the motorcycle tires screaming at the end. I mean, again, that sort of mournful delivery that Shangri-Las were really, really good at is on full effect on this one. And then 1, 2, 3 Punch with Give 'Em a Great Big Kiss, one of my favorite Shangri-La songs ever. That intro is classic. When I say I'm in love, you best believe I'm in love, LUV. It's so cool. And the song itself is bouncy, and it's one of those things where like they did a handful of songs that didn't really quote unquote fit their sound. But this was one for me where it's just slightly different enough, but very Shangri-Las at the same time. Especially with like the back and forth chatter, you know, is he tall? Well, I gotta look up, you know, color of his eyes, he always wears shades, you know, that kind of stuff. So very cool. And apparently there were extra lines at the end that got cut off in the original version that was released. But, you know, it's one of those endearing songs about high school when you're falling for your crush for the first time and just like wanting to express those feelings. It's just a very young, optimistic love song. And it's a great track. It's so catchy, and the chorus is great with the foot stamping sort of supreme sound and the kiss sound. It's just an absolute classic. Such a good song. Out in the Streets, amazing vocal harmonies. You know, it's a really sweet and sad song about a dude who starts hanging out and going out with one of these girls. And he came from a rough background, and he's trying to leave all that behind, but he's kind of losing himself in the process, and she's realizing that and realizing that he's probably better off where he came from. So it's a really unhappy breakup song where it sounds like both parties don't want to break up, but they feel like they have to because it's just not going to work because of their personalities. But I mean, a song that was a single, didn't do too well in the charts, but really, really good. Give Us Your Blessings, another song about that classic 60s tale, like the two teens run away to get married kind of feel, which is what it is. It did get them back into the top 30, but it's also just another good, catchy chorus type of song, and establishes more of that dramatic feel, I was trying to say, that they were known for. Maybe is the next song on here. Total 50s sort of track. I feel like if this song came out like 1959, it would have been a massive hit, but it sounds a little dated at this point. Still really good. And then What Is Love, man, is the B-side to Leader of the Pack, and Betty sings lead on this one. Her distinct lead vocal is fantastic. Mary does the boy oh boy kind of ad-libs, the aw-gee stuff. But youthful, gets stuck in your head, excellent track. Side 2 on this album is kind of where like we've left behind like their biggest hits and enter the era where like they were still making hit songs that were in the top 20, top 30, top 40, but like they get real interesting. So track 1 on side 2 is Never Again, which is absolutely one of my favorite songs from the Shangri-Las. Mary sounds vengeful in her delivery. She's heartbroken. The song is just powerful and epic. The big timpani drums, the horn section. It's really quite the production. The bridge is soaring, and everyone on this thing sings so amazingly, especially in that key change. Man, what a good song. Love this one. Then you get The Train from Kansas City, followed by Right Now, Not Later. And the reason why I'm putting these two songs together is because The Train from Kansas City was supposed to be the A-side. But then when Right Now, Not Later got written, they realized that should be the A-side. And Train from Kansas City is a great song. Super confident lead vocals from Mary. That pounding piano sounds like a train. It's a really great song, but Right Now, Not Later obviously has that spark to make it the A-side. It's a perfect pop song. It's catchy. It's got smash hit written all over it. And it could have been a career changer. But apparently they did this without Shadow Morton involved. And he got upset about that. He didn't like the way the song was produced, but the song sounds slightly Motown-ish. And it would have been a massive hit. Like the pre-sales for this single were like the most they ever had. It would have been their first double A side, and it could have been an absolute game changer for them for their career, because they hadn't had a couple of big hits at their last couple of singles weren't as big as they had been before. So Right Now and Not Later should have been a massive, massive hit for them, but instead it got tanked. The company said, all right, well, Shadow's going to write them a new song. Let's go with that one instead. And they tanked Right Now and Not Later, so it completely just got obscured. Which is heartbreaking because that song is absolutely incredible. And the song they replaced it with ends up on side 3, but we'll get there when we get there. Dum Dum Ditty, super catchy song, very Phil Spector sound on this thing, heavily drenched in reverb, instant sing-along. Heaven Only Knows, cute little song, the B-side to Give Him a Great Big Kiss. I'm sorry, Give Us Your Blessing. 2 Give songs. They sing on this one so effortlessly, super catchy, sticks in your head. What's a Girl Supposed to Do? And side 2 here. Great little song, nice guitar stabs, awesome bass, everyone sings really well. It's a song about falling in love as a teenager. It's that kind of feel, but it works really, really well. Side 3 opens up with I Can Never Go Home Anymore, and this song was a top 10 hit for them, hit number 6. And this was a song that replaced Right Now and Not Later. And it's funny because Right Now and Not Later is the complete polar opposite. It's upbeat, it's fun, it definitely sounds like a Motown song. It just feels happy and peppy. And I Can Never Go Home Anymore, it's the complete opposite. It's an incredible piece of work and definitely establishes that drama that they were known for. Hit number 6 in the charts, unbelievable. But you know, it's a song about when you're young and you think you know everything, you think you know what's best for you, what your future's gonna hold. You don't know anything at that point. It's a really sad song, and it's completely hypnotizing how wrapped up you get into the feel of the story, the storytelling. Mary's delivery is just, her vocals are unbelievable. But great song. Long Live Our Love. Kind of a rare type of song for them, where they're singing about like their Johnny's gone off to war type of song. It's okay. You know, it's not too bad. The glasses clinking at the end give it a nice little feel of you know, that champagne toast kind of thing. But I just missed the top 30 with that one, at number 33. Sophisticated Boom Boom, one of the most random songs they ever did. It feels nothing like the Shangri-Las. Maybe it was done on purpose just to have a cool, fun, different type of dance song where it's almost like an instructional thing, like do the twist. Do the Sophisticated Boom Boom. It's okay. I mean, it's catchy, don't get me wrong, but it ain't no Give Him a Great Big Kiss. He Cried, the Jay and the Americans did it earlier, a couple years beforehand, but man, this is the perfect song for them to cover. It's perfect. Dramatic, painful, epic. The drums feel like a heartbeat. It's an excellent version, and Mary just nails the lead vocal. It's one of the best songs on the album, their cover of He Cried. Dressed in Black follows that up as sweeping, tender romance mixed with those bombastic drums is a hell of a juxtaposition. Awesome production. Lonely and powerful type of song. And it ends with Paradise, the Harry Nilsson song, and definitely another great sort of guitar stab, reverb-heavy type of track. Magical song. It's got those chimes on it, huge tom fills. Sounds like, for me anyway, Mary's doing a vocal solo on this one, which is a little bit different. And then side 4 is where we hit the end of the career for the Shangri-Las. It starts off with Past, Present, and Future, which is a really beautiful song. Hit number 59 in the charts, but Mary sort of gently speaks this one, reflecting on love and loss in the past, the present, and what's coming up in the future. And that moment where she says, "Shall we dance?" it becomes this cinematic movie feel all of a sudden. It's, again, a lonely, sweeping Shangri-Las song that they just had that sound that no one else can do besides them. Up next is one of my absolute favorite songs of all time by the Shangri-Las, called I'll Never Learn, which was a B-side. And I feel like no one's ever heard this song before, but it's one of the most gorgeous things they've ever recorded. The construction of the song is incredible. Mary's vocals are just soaring and painful. You hear the mournfulness of her delivery. It's epic and mature and heartbroken. It's just a gorgeous pop song, and it's just, you hear the pain in her voice, and it's like, these girls were teenagers. How the hell do you sing like that? It's incredible. But man, the loneliness on that song is unbelievable. If you hear anything on this album, play I'll Never Learn. Great song. Sweet Sounds of Summer. The Shangri-Las get groovy and psychedelic on this one. It's a very interesting track because it's peppy and upbeat, but it's got this almost weird psychedelic middle bit with like bouncing tom drums and some guitar screeches, which is actually really cool to hear them sort of blend with the times but keep their traditional sound. Very unique song for them. Did absolutely nothing on the charts for them, unfortunately, but very cool to see what could have been if they had progressed in that style. And at this point, they were on Mercury Records. They didn't necessarily leave Redbird. Redbird kind of got bought up by Mercury. And Mercury had like zero interest in promoting them, which is so sad. They cut 2 singles from Mercury, and that was it. It's super sad. Love You More Than Yesterday was also a Redbird song, so it kind of goes out of order, but it was the last B-side for Redbird. Cool little song, but it feels like it'd use a little more oomph, you know? And then the last 2 songs, Footsteps on the Roof and Take the Time. Footsteps should have been the A-side. It was the B-side, unfortunately. Excellent song, sweet, poppy, introspective. It's got that feel of the Shangri-Las that they were known for, but like slightly more mature. Like they were growing up, but you know, they were. And then the last song, Take the Time, another message about, it's sort of an anti-war song, watching out for the country. It sounds a little dated. It sounds almost a little cheesy, which is kind of probably a little mean to say, but it doesn't feel like an A-side. And sadly it was. I really think if Footsteps on the Roof was the A-side, that would have been a game changer for them. I also think if Mercury did anything to promote the band, that would have been a game changer for them too. But unfortunately, those last 2 singles performed really, really poorly, and that was it. Their career was done. But here's what the records look like. They're on this clear, smoky gray vinyl with the classic Redbird logo on them. And record 2 is really cool because on one side you get the Redbird label, and on the second side you get the Mercury label. So they did things correctly. What I also really enjoy about this release is that they really focus on the 4 members of the group. Whenever you see pictures of the Shangri-Las, it's usually Mary Weiss with Marianne and Margaret Gassner, the 2 twins. And because Betty was sort of in and out, but she was there a lot of the time. And then in the last year or so of the band, they would kind of lose members here and there. So they were usually a 4-piece or a trio, depending on who was there at the time. But I love that there's a picture of 4 of them on the front, 4 of them on the back. So it really shows all 4 Shangri-Las, which is great. Unfortunately, both of the Gassner twins have passed away at this point, so they're no longer with us. But just an amazing set. Really lovingly produced. Excellent liner notes on the inside. There's a whole couple of pages of liner notes tucked away in here as well. So if you can find a copy of this thing, I highly recommend it. It's a pretty comprehensive discography for them. For a band that only put out 2 albums and, you know, a handful of singles that weren't on those albums, they're just a fascinating group. It's a document in history of a sound that will never come back, and really was, you know, grabbing the hearts of what it was like to be a lonely teenager. When you just, you feel like you're falling in love, or you feel like you've met someone that will change your life, and constantly being put down because you're young, you know? And I feel like it's something we all go through at that age, where you think you know everything, and you don't. And that kind of covers the drama it's encapsulated in these songs. And hearing that they're also teenagers and they have these super powerful voices telling these stories, it must have, like, to contextualize it, it must have been fascinating to be a teenager in the mid-60s buying these records, being like, wow, these girls are also my age, singing about how I feel. I'm not alone. It must have been unbelievable at that time. But even now, all these years later, and no longer being a teen, it's just an incredible body of work, and I'm really, really proud to own this record. If you find one, pick it up. It sounds unbelievably clear. So many of their recordings that are available on Spotify and stuff sound scratchy, and there's just static all over them. I don't know what happened to so many of those songs, but this thing corrects a lot of those problems. So there you go. Shangri-Las, best of the Redbird and Mercury recordings. For me, 10 out of 10, hands down. Just for the coolness of it, the historicalness of it, the songs, the messages, the recording, the whole package of what made up the legacy of the Shangri-Las is really well presented here. So there you go. My name is Giggens, 10 out of 10 for Shangri-Las. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.